Okay, so today we are going to talk about driver's license, and I'm going to get started because I have a lot to say about it. So, a quick reference on driving in Panama. If you're a tourist, your home country's license is valid for 90 days. But once a foreigner receives their temporary residency card, they are no longer considered a tourist, and they must obtain a Panamanian driver's license. So, and there are two ways to get your license in Panama: the easy way and the hard way. The easy way is to get your foreign driver's license authenticated at your country's consulate in Panama, and then have it certified at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. You will also need a blood test, unless your foreign driver's license already includes the blood type on your license. Once you have all those documents, you can request a Panamanian driver's license at any Sertricen office. And the Sertricen offices are kind of in the States, or like they're kind of like the DMV. So easy peasy, right? But of course, because of the pandemic, the easy way takes way longer. We have some friends that moved here in April, and they made their appointment through their lawyer, which is a little bit quicker. And just a couple of weeks ago, about 5 months later, they finally got in to go get their license. So Gail and I didn't want to wait that long, so I'll tell you about my experience. Before we left the States, we came across the name of a guy that would help you sign up for the test, drive you to the testing place, and also let you use his car. So I WhatsApped him. His name is David. In Panamanian, that's pronounced David Marquez, and he gave me the steps and the cost of everything that it would cost. So the first step was to sign up for the driving school, which cost $60. He gave me the account number to the driving school and told me which bank to deposit it into. Now, when he told me this, my first thought was, don't you know that I'm going for my license? I don't have a license to actually get to this bank. But I figured it out, and I rode the public bus, which is only 50 cents. And I rode it to the edge of town and then walked the rest of the way. Pretty much because there are a few other buses, and I don't think that particular bus goes that far. So I had to walk on the Pan American Highway, which wasn't fun. It was hot, of course, and when I got to the bank, I was soaking wet. But good news, the cashier spoke perfect English, and he was really nice and very helpful. So that step got taken care of. So the second step was to study for the written test. Now there are 10 questions that you have 1 minute to answer for each question. There is a site that you can study from in English. It has 133 questions, and I'll put the link below if I remember. I always keep forgetting. So those 100 out of those 133 questions, 10 of those will be on the test. The next step was to get my blood type, because I don't have that on my foreign license. So David gave me the name of the doctor in town. So I looked them up and got a ride into town that day. And then, of course, I had to go back the next day to get the results, because for some reason they wouldn't email me the results of it. So the cost of the blood draw was $15. Then once I got all that and waited 2 weeks, I think the 2 weeks waiting period is because because once you pay for the driving school, and then you're kind of like pretending that you're actually going to the school for those 2 weeks. I think that's why not sure. It makes sense in my head. So then I've studied. All the paperwork is good. I'm ready to take the test. So I called David, and he walked me through signing up for the test on the Search Within site. He picked me up that morning, and we drove to Panama, which is about 45 minutes from Coronado. On the way there, he explained all the steps that I would go through and what to expect, which was really nice. He actually explained it a few times. So of course, the whole time there, my stomach was in knots because I was nervous as heck. We drove into this parking lot. There are a lot of cars and people. We walked over to this group of 3 to 4 people, and the instructor started explaining how to do the driving portion in Spanish. I listened intently, like I understood everything he was saying. After he finished, David came over and translated everything, step by step on what I was supposed to do, what I was not supposed to do, which was really nice. So hearing it for probably like the second or third time from him. There were a couple of other people that went before me. So we started with the driving portion, and there were a couple of people that went before me, which was really good. So I could just follow suit and know exactly what I needed to do. So you have 10 minutes to finish the course, which consisted of 3 parking jobs. We didn't even leave the parking lot for the driving portion. So first you drive forward into a parking spot, and then back up, and then the next you go in. You kind of go off to the side and turn around, and then parallel park. And then the final one is to go into that first parking spot and backing up into the parking spot. I did have some trouble with the parallel parking. I wasn't getting the vehicle close enough to the curb, so I had to maneuver it enough to make sure that he finally said okay. I also wasn't hitting the curb with just the straight in parking and the backup parking. For some reason, he wanted my tires to touch that curb, which I don't usually do when I'm parking because I usually have a car, and the low car, it always hits the curb and it just wrecks your bumper. So, but for the test, I had to do it. So after that, we went across. So I passed that portion of it. After that, we went across the street and to the Search Within office. And I gave the lady my information, and we were having some difficulties with the language barrier, but we got through it. There was a short sight test, which was pretty much like two questions, and then there was a hearing test. I thought I actually failed that portion of it, but I didn't. Then there was the written test. And then I went over to the cashier and paid $40 for the driver's license and that portion of it, and voila. License in hand. Thank God I don't have to go through that again. So good luck, Gail, on whichever route you decide to do. Yeah. So that was my driving experience and what the route that I took to take my driving test. I'm an official Panamanian crazy driver.